Welcome to Module 5. A lot going on in this module. The bottom line is we don't always like the laws of supply and demand. We don't like the outcome, and so sometimes government tries to undo them. And as you will see, they really can't be undone. So let's look at the lectures. A lot of interesting things here. Video, well, some stuff on competition. Oh, this is interesting. Airlines talks about the history of the airlines and why they were regulated then deregulated. Not too long, but interesting case study. Price gouging, does it make consumers worse off or better off? I think you'll find that very interesting during a natural disaster when supplies are destroyed. Well-meaning governments have passed anti-gouging laws, and again, in the world of unintended consequences, that actually makes people worse off because it keeps first of all, it creates a shortage. Scarce items have to be rationed somehow, and when things are blown away in a hurricane, for example, consumers cannot go on consuming like they did before. There's simply not as much stuff as there was before. So everyone has to cut back. Well, an increase in the price is the way to do that. It also keeps supplies when you don't allow the price to go up. You can't supplies can't get there. Sometimes the best way for supplies to get in there are individuals who can bring them in, generators. So in this case of this video, it talks about people badly needing generators, but they actually arrested anybody bringing generators in. Again, unintended consequences. And this one is puzzling as can be. Should government protect limousine services from low price competition? Absolutely amazing. It's actually it does what minimum wages can do is that's why some of the higher paid skilled craftsmen, for example, like high minimum wages because it protects them against low wage competition, right? So same thing here. Very interesting the government would get involved in such a thing, but they did indeed in Nashville. Okay, interesting case studies there. And healthcare. Again, we wish there was a way for everybody to have all the healthcare that they could possibly want. It's impossible under any system. Now we have government-run healthcare systems. Something's got to give. If price isn't going to be a rationing factor, then insurance companies will be a rationing factor or governments will be a rationing factor. But there's always a rationing factor. Has to be. In Canada, for example, sure, it's all free. At least the marginal cost is free. It's part of being a Canadian citizen. But when it's free, there's going to be a lot of demand. And how are you going to ration it? You wait. You get in line. Okay. And sometimes the waits are so long that Canadians can't wait any longer. Tens of thousands of Canadians go outside the country for their health care. So they're not only paying once through very high taxes, by the way, they have to pay again somewhere else because they can't wait. The backup became so great in Vancouver, Canada, that they actually contracted with Seattle area hospitals, sent their citizens over to Seattle because of the backup. So if you click on here, in fact, the wait times, You can click on here and see the wait times in Canada. There's a group there that keeps track of that, the average wait times. That is always a problem, and you don't hear much about that. But it has to be, in Fort Myers, Florida, where I lived before I came here. Uh, Now, granted, this is a VA hospital, Veterans Administration Hospital in Florida. So, I mean, there's a lot of retirees, veterans. When I lived there, the wait to get to the VA hospital was 3 years. So, I mean, it's free if you can handle the 3-year wait. Yeah. Okay, more attempts to repeal the laws of supply and demand if wages aren't high enough. Minimum wage. Now, the thing with the minimum wage, if it's below, as you'll read in here, I always enjoyed asking my students why McDonald's would pay higher than minimum wage. I'd drive through the drive-through there, and it said hiring smiling faces, and I would go in there, but at the time, as I remember, they were paying like $10 an hour, and or whatever, 7, 8, 9. I can't remember, but I think it's in. I think it's in here. But the minimum wage at the time was around $5 or $6 an hour. Okay, are they doing it to be nice? Well, maybe they're really are nice, but that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it because they have to compete with Burger King and Pizza Hut and Walmart and Burritoville and everybody else. And if they're going to hire anybody, they're going to have to pay what the market will require. Now, so if the minimum wage is lower than equilibrium, what does the minimum wage do? What does it accomplish? And the answer is virtually nothing. It doesn't raise your wages. It doesn't, it's as if it doesn't exist. So if you're going to raise the minimum wage and it's still lower than equilibrium, you wouldn't expect it to cause any unemployment. If you raise the minimum wage above equilibrium, however, well, that's what this article, well, actually, this is a video. $15 an hour. Most economists think that's above the equilibrium, and that will cause some unemployment. And who does it hurt the most? The least skilled. Okay, usually it's the ones you're trying to help the most that are hurt the most because they're the first ones out the door when they get cut back. So here's another, this is one of my all-time favorites. California politicians created an energy shortage out of thin air by capping energy prices, price of your electricity, your public utilities. Well. That caused all kinds of problems. And as I say here, didn't anyone understand the law of supply? It's like they never thought that generators would shut down if you capped the price. But anyway, as I say in there, that one had economists laughing and pulling their hair out. Tax incidents in the Affordable Care Act. Another part of the chapter is tax incidents. Does it really matter if you tax the consumer or the producer? And the answer is, well, tax incidents wise, who really bears the burden of the tax? No. And a great application of this was the selling of the Affordable Care Act. The economist, forgot his name, at MIT, one of the architects, Jonathan Gruber. I used to have a video in here of him actually teaching this. He was actually teaching it, but they took it down. I guess, proponents of the Affordable Care Act didn't like the video. But he's just an economist, and everything he said was absolutely true. They had a hard time selling the Affordable Care Act because they said, "Are you taxing my insurance? Are you taxing my insurance policy? I don't want you to tax my insurance policy." And so nobody was for it. But then they got smart and very crafty and said, no, we're not going to tax your insurance policy. We're going to tax your insurance company. Ah, yeah, get that big rich insurance company instead. Well, as Professor Gruber explains, and as you'll learn when you talk about, learn about tax incidents, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And but it made all the difference in the world to the selling of the Affordable Care Act. And well, what else we got here? Okay, so a lot of interesting stuff in there. Homework, okay, extra help. Here I go. Here I go through a tax incidence problem. Okay, so you can kind of see how that's done. A little extra help there if you need it. Okay, that's it for Module 5. A lot of interesting stuff. I find this stuff to be very interesting. The laws of supply and demand are not natural laws, but it's as if they are because it deals with human behavior. And how do you change human behavior? How do you legislate a change in human behavior? You cannot. That's why those laws stay put even as we try to undo them. So uh, here with price controls, this is probably the biggest head-on collision between good politics and good economics. You've just got a bloody head-on collision here, and the economics just doesn't go away as much as the politicians sometimes would like it to.